pre-orders. So let's go down to the game floor where Zelda Scott will take us through our keys to the game. Zelda.
Thanks, Casey and BP. I'm down here in the his house. You know, the heezy.
Welcome to Demasked. My name is Fresman, and today I'm joined by Hey Peter. Peter, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's nice outside. Just glad to be here.
Now, I recently discovered your channel actually through your Postal retrospective. Ooh. And I've been curious, like, from the outset, what does the process of making these essays look like?
Okay. Well, some people are a little bit more structured. I'm a little all over the place. I don't always have a consistent idea or game. I have a rough estimate. Like, I'll have a million pieces of paper, notepad documents with bullet points of, I've played this game before, or I'm going to. So I'll just have, and then I'll kind of apply sort of like a throwing a dart at a dartboard mentality, because I don't usually care enough to look at like a trend. I kind of avoid all that. It's not really what catches my interest, and I'm kind of just chasing the dragon of my interest there, of just what comes into mind, what seems exciting for about a month. And with Postal, it's a game I'm quite familiar with. I love the Postal franchise quite a bit, and I had it on Steam, so it's like, oh, why not? Just started that, and usually how it starts, if it's a longer game, I'll kind of work in tandem with recording footage and writing the script. It's a pretty short game, take like maybe 2 hours, so I can knock that out in an afternoon. Scripts, depending on the length, that one's, I think, just shy of an hour and a half, so it probably took me about a week to write the script, generally just looking at footage. Recently I've tried to look more in development history. I didn't do that as much with specifically Postal, but I kind of wish I did, actually. It's very interesting, especially with there's a documentary about the franchise that came out quite recently, so maybe I could have waited a year, but that's not a big deal. But for that specifically, I was a bit under a deadline because I had a road trip to go on, so I kind of released it like a couple days prior. So it was a little rushed, but generally I kind of just look at a game very casually, write a script based on recording of footage, where I'm very lazy with recording footage. Most people rather they'll like have a hotkey to record specific moments. Nope, I am more of a just throw myself into a project kind of person, where I'll just record everything in gigantic chunks and name them gameplay, part 1, part 2, etc., and then just hunker down and look at everything linearly. I should be writing like little notes on specific moments so I don't waste time in the editing booth, but I usually try not to have many obligations when editing, so I can put 100% brain power into that, release the video, forget everything I did a week later. And it works for me.
Well, you mentioned, writing down bullet points and taking notes, and I looked over, I'm staring at the thumbnail for the Hilux video, and I just imagine, like, all right, and today's subject is just a big old question mark.
Yeah, basically. Like, it's not usually not organized. Like, when I was first starting out, I would just get like napkins or paper towels and just, okay, divide into like games I've played and I can talk about, or games I haven't played but look like a good fit. Hilux, I actually hadn't played it before the video, but I figured it was kind of up my alley. Sometimes the nightmare scenario of I've spent like 2-3 days recording this, but then I realize either it wouldn't make a good video, or I don't like the game, and I don't like to review games that I don't particularly enjoy. It's just not the style. I'd rather talk about things I enjoy quite a bit more, because I think it's very easy to fall into a very cynical and curt mentality, and I'm trying to avoid that. I prefer to praise the things I enjoy more than criticize things I don't like, but it's kind of a gamble, I guess. But I ended up enjoying Hilux, most of the first one. I do like the second one, even if most people in the comments did say I was a bit of a mediocre Hilux 2 player, which is not unwarranted, mind you, but it shows my process of how I played those games for the first time. Like, if I had played it when it came out in 2020, I probably would have had a much more measured review. And you can definitely tell, because I'll often say it, of when I've played a game for the first time and I'm going through kind of almost learning with the audience in a way, where I try and keep most of the things to myself. Some things are definitely done with some familiarity. Like last year, I did a series retrospective on Drawn to Life, that franchise, which I was very familiar with, so I could give a lot more background details. With Hylix, I was just kind of figuring stuff out as it goes and writing down almost kind of like let's play commentary, but edited to have a bit more prose, if that makes sense.
I get you. Now, have you bumped into like a game series or just a specific game that you've done a retrospective on that like halfway through you're like, this game kind of sucks?
Sometimes. Most recently this year, I was going to review. It was like half an indie game series. It was trying to be an ARG, like an alternate reality game, which I think I've covered a couple of those before. They're not always my bread and butter. It's a little too much brain power for me to figure that stuff out if someone hasn't explained it. Because I try not to sit on the stuff for too long. I try to just always keep busy. And I feel like if I'm working in circles trying to actually solve puzzles, I'm like, oh, what am I doing? I'm not making any money. But I'll try and say it kindly. I don't like speaking too negatively about indie games because it's usually just one or two people. I think it can be really dejecting to say you don't enjoy their games. But it was a game series called Conclus. It was trying to be an alternate reality game starting as a YouTube series pretending to be like a haunted PS1 game, and someone had tried to make the game in that style. So I had covered the entire ARG aspects of, because he released it as like 20-ish videos of like, I found this game in my dad's attic. And then I would cover that YouTube series and then play the actual game. But when I got to play the game, I just came to the realization that's like, oh my god, I have nothing to say about this. It's so boring.
Oh no.
Which is just like, I had spent maybe 2-3 days on the scripts because I could just download the footage. I was really just transcribing like YouTube footage for that. And I just kind of had to abandon the project. I instead played Phantasmagoria like a week later, which eventually became my video. Though I will say there is a sequel to Conclus. I haven't played it. Conclus 2 that I've heard is much, much better. So I think that developer, he has learned a bit from the original Conclus, but I try not... I haven't had many issues of playing a game where I have to stop, because I usually just try and get it out or look at it in a different way to make it entertaining. There are some games that are really hard to make a good video on because I don't want to remake a video, and I'm not a perfectionist, but I really want to put my all into it. And if I feel like a release is kind of disappointing, it's like, well, I'm not satisfied. I could have mentioned like this and that. Like I've almost been a bit paralyzed because I want to do Postal 2, but that's a very complicated game with a lot of history to cover, so I would need to tackle it in a very specific angle I haven't even figured out yet.
Now, if you were to cover Postal 2, would you carry on and like cover 3 and 4?
Initially, I wasn't. I was a little bit more rigid on the structure of games I wanted to talk about. I wanted to kind of focus a bit more. Some indie stuff, some horror stuff, some obscure stuff. And then I kind of just covered what was on my mind until I stopped caring at a certain point where it's like, well, if I just put effort into it, people will watch some of it anyways. It might not get as popular, but it doesn't really matter. So 3 and 4, probably. Not sure about the spin-off Brain Damage. That's kind of its own thing. I really don't have much to say about it. But whenever the day of Postal 2 comes, 3 and 4 will absolutely get their own videos. I'd love to have those little compilations of just a whole franchise retrospective, just combine 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe like a bonus 10-minute review of Brain Damaged. They can throw it up on Patreon first or something.
Or just like do Postal 2 and then act like Brain Damage was there the whole time.
Yeah, like just kind of slip it in, because I do think a lot about compilations, because there are some franchises where I want to cover multiple games in them that I can combine them afterwards, partially just for convenience, but you know, it is like an additional source of revenue. Just combine it all together, add some neat transitions, you know, just say it's a compilation so YouTube doesn't think you're re-uploading stuff. You get more money for basically no effort. Everyone wins. The fans like it. My bank account likes it. So, and like it makes sense. I wouldn't want to milk it too much, but
I mean,
you could always
hit that niche that Like there's certain like to put channels to it, like Game Grumps compilations, and then there's like Kid-Icarus, but it's specifically videos to fall asleep to.
Yes, that is a good. I tried to do that at the start of last year, where I just put all of my gaming videos from 2023 in a compilation. I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I kind of just threw it together. I didn't make a very good thumbnail. It didn't do well, which is a shame because I think I can capitalize on the market. I just need to do more research into that because I kind of, from the moment of this channel's inception, I kind of just grabbed the seat of my pants and saw what happened. This is not very premeditated or thoughtfully crafted. It is genuinely just the whims of my imagination callously thrown to the wind.
I like this. That's it.
Yeah, basically. Like, I kind of just hop from one thing to the next. Like, a couple months ago, I talked about a 3DO game, and then eventually, I just talked about Super Mario RPG, because I was thinking about the game again. Like, the remake of that came out 2 years ago, so I missed that boat. But it didn't really matter, because that's just what I was playing at the time. And that's kind of the general vibe and expectations, is just, I'm doing it because it's just what I was playing, what I was thinking about, because I just get an itch of certain games at a certain time, and I couldn't tell you why. My brain just chooses to resurface things, and it tells me, like, you gotta do this.
Talk about it now.
Exactly. It'll stick for maybe a month, and I have to kind of harness that feeling. I very rarely get burnt out in the middle of a project because depending on the kind of project, it can be really intimidating to start back in the middle of editing when you transition to something else. Some people can, but especially if I'm reviewing like an RPG, very long games, and it would be a very bad idea just for the pacing of the video and generally the structure of trying to tell and communicate a story through a YouTube video and audio commentary to stop midway without some kind of like being built in. Like, to give a better example, I've been very, very slowly working on something for the game Breath of Fire 4. Very long PS1 JRPG, but I'm taking my time with it where I just record footage in very small batches, write a bit of script, then take a break, and then work on other stuff. Like, I have something else working that's much smaller, much more comfortable, so I can kind of balance that, because my idea of a break is more work. I'm a bit of a workaholic.
Okay, I get you. I've sort of faced the I guess the term would be like creative paralysis when it comes to certain. It's the idea that I have a concept of what I want to make in my head, but I have no idea where to start. That sort of thing.
That'll definitely take hold. I definitely felt that towards the start of my like quote unquote career. Like, if you wanted to go back to my very early uploads in 2023, it's kind of like, oh my god, what were you thinking? Just but the best advice you can genuinely give for one, starting a channel, but two, just to get out of that creative paralysis, is you just have to draw something sometimes on the page without having an idea. Like, you have to kind of force yourself to do it. Like, if I'm looking at it in a script and I have no idea how to start, I am terrible with intros. My biggest problem for years was that they were too long, and I just couldn't get to the point. I didn't have a good hook, and I'd be paralyzed on the first page. It would take me a day to write like 500 words for the intro. So I would just start with something else, write something completely random. Like, I'd be trying to introduce the franchise, and it could be something silly and juvenile. Like, you just write it very seriously, very methodically, and then you just switch, then a clown walked in. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You might even get a chuckle from it, but it wakes your brain up, you delete the paragraph, and you're working again. You're back on the rails. You can kind of shock yourself into thinking and not being tired or just kind of trapped in that analysis paralysis of trying to be... I think it's a bit harder to convince perfectionists. I'm not a perfectionist. I don't mind if something is outwardly flawed for the most part. One of my unfortunate trademarks is that I have a bad tendency of bumping the microphone because I had terrible microphone etiquette for years, only recently have I learned you can put it on an arm and not just bump it with your hands where it would be behind my keyboard. But I do try. Oh, sorry, I totally cut you off there. What were you about to say?
No, I was gonna say, are you like me? Do you talk with your hands a lot?
I'm fiddling with something right now. You can't see it, but I've like bought this thing from Temu, some kind of like capsule that smells vaguely of lemon. I don't always keep myself busy. I'm not really an ADHD person, but it does help to fidget a little bit, because I am used to talking with my hands a bit more expressionist, to get like a bit more of expression, because I feel like you can definitely tell when someone's reading something in a very monotone voice. I try to have a little bit of expressions. I'm very soft-spoken when I read most of these scripts, very quiet. I don't raise my voice much, but to kind of reach some highs and lows without just mindlessly reading a script, because I think I can sound a little bit robotic with how the script is written. Just, it's a flaw generally as a writer, but like you wouldn't be able to see it, but you do just make the same facial expressions. I try and treat it like I'm in a face-to-face conversation, like I'm pretending my pop filter is your eyes right now, and I'm trying to like picture that. It's like, okay, well, I can't just not have facial expressions. I'll look insane.
I'm imagining you do a video where you're on Facecam and you're just stone faced, but while having like the intonations in your voice.
Yeah. I mean, it is possible. I'm not on camera often. I wouldn't say I'm particularly shy, but it's just not always necessary for what I do, because the footage of the game, or sometimes B-roll, I hate recording B-roll, but it's kind of a necessary evil. But it's not really necessary to have myself on camera, but I do it sometimes. I had a video this year where I had a gag where I drank like hot shots, like hot sauce shots.
Yeah.
Where that required to be on camera for like 10 seconds. Like, I have a tripod and not much else. I couldn't tell you anything about proper lighting or not looking generally ghoulish in a camera, and I refuse to spend more than $30 on a webcam, but it's something interesting to experiment. I think it'd be nice sometimes to get outside and have a bit more of a face. I was much more insecure about that in 2023, where I was like, well, do I want to put like my physical identity out there and like possibly get it connected to someone I know IRL? Like, do I want to do that? But I kind of rationalize it. It's like, I'm not that exceptional looking, so I'm just a person. So it's really not a shock. Like, I'm not going to get like a dream-esque face reveal drama, and I didn't like that whole face reveal build up. It was kind of just like, I'm just a guy. You don't need much introduction. I think I just put my face in a video just to get it out there. No one cared, and no one needs to, because it's just my face. It's not important.
That said, so not in terms of face reveals, but I'm the opposite end of the spectrum. I will never put my face out there.
That's totally fine. It's the smarter thing, really. Having your online anonymity is very, very important, and that is kind of the things you sacrifice as a very large YouTuber. I am definitely not large by any stretch. I'm incredibly grateful for what little status, quote-unquote status, I have, but the people who have millions, like I feel old because all the people I'm referencing are like 2010s, but like the Smoshes and the Shane Dawsons of the world who have those are their real names and their real faces, like the vlogger types. When you get big, you can attract a crowd. I have never been recognized on the street because my voice is not that identifiable to be picked out on a crowd when I'm just walking around town, and like my face is not in my videos very much. But those guys, their whole physical identity is their brand. So you can see these people at a convention or just on the street and you bother them. And that's kind of like a scary idea. It's like, do I really want to be accosted by like a teenage fan who means it earnestly, but it is a very weird dynamic to be admired like that. It's a lot more comfortable through a YouTube comment, and you have like a degree of space between people. Like when you don't show your face, and some people don't even use their voice, they'll be text only or text to speech, which was a thing in like really early YouTube that died because like YouTube server space could handle bigger videos. People wanted, like, it wasn't a job in like 2008. It was just a hobby. Now it's definitely a job. I think more children now want to be streamers than they do astronauts. I would say, in some regards, it's perhaps the most prestigious job one could ask for, at least on the outside. It's not entirely all it's cracked up to be when you do it, but it's very inspiring to hear that anyone in the world, with just a bit of their voice, without revealing their name or their face, could not only get a job where you don't have to leave the house and be creatively fulfilled, you can even be rich if you get lucky.
Mm. Well, like I had this argument a couple years back when I first started my channel because I had this roommate that loved to play devil's advocate. I'm like, look, I made this mask I'm gonna wear on YouTube, and he was like, well, why do you wear the mask? Are you ashamed of the way you look? Do you wish to hide from the world? I'm like, no, I just think it looks nice and I want to wear it. That's why.
Yeah, it's a trademark. It stands out.
It, in my brain, I hope it's how it works on a person to person basis. But I believe when I interview people, I believe it's easier for somebody to talk to a blank expressionless mask than it is to a human face that is constantly shifting.
I can see that, yeah. I know, depending on the person at least, a lot of people get a bit anxious to be on camera or just make face-to-face contact. I kind of view it through the lens of, like, musical performance. Like, you have an online identity that you can act as you normally would, but you can choose to present yourself in a different way, and it definitely gets a lot crazier in the world of music. Like, being interviewed by a gentleman with a red hockey mask is not as uncomfortable as it may be when, like, there are people way crazier with way more out there gimmicks. Some people don't have them at all. Some people it's just their face. Some people are faceless. And then some people kind of in between. I'm very indecisive. I don't think I'm good at branding because I really just could not stick to a proper profile picture or aesthetic that I really need to capitalize on. But I like the mask. I think it gives character, gives like a nice faceless approach. I think it works well with your voice. I think it is good branding for what you're going for.
Thank you. I have always been interested in not so much. What's the word I'm looking for? Psychological experimentation.
Okay.
Like, I think different stimuli or lack of stimuli can affect people differently. Like, one of my favorite things to test, not really force people to test it, but one of my favorite things that I've seen proven time and time again is something that I like to call pen theory.
Oh, do tell.
So pen theory, in my mind, states that the simpler an objective or an activity is, the more frustrating it is when you can't do it. And
okay.
The reason it's called pen theory is that that's the staple of that theory, is dropping a pen on the ground and being unable to pick it up.
Okay. So just kind of gauging the reactions of people trying to accomplish like a really simple task. Is that understanding it?
And how fast somebody can stoop into anger and frustration upon not being able to complete that objective.
Oh, okay.
So like if you drop a pen on the ground and then like you know when you lean down to pick up a pen but you're like standing upright and you have to lean all the way down.
Oh, yeah.
And the pen slips out of your hand.
Yeah, like how long does it take for specific people to get like maybe embarrassed about the situation but also angry that they can't pick up the pen within the 5 seconds they've allowed themselves to not hold the pen while like being at school or generally just doing something kind of writing activity.
Mm-hmm. And I've noticed this with like, it seems to me the more simple the task, the more frustrating it is. Like I've witnessed near psychotic rage at the inability to flip a light switch because you're just too far away.
I mean, I guess when it's just out of reach, it'd probably be more frustrating if you were nowhere near it, for sure.
Yeah, like right now, I'm across the room from the light switch. I can't do anything about that, at least not right now. But if I'm standing next to it and I'm waving my hand at it and I'm just far enough away that I can't touch it.
Yeah, there's sort of like an in-between of accomplishing something, that very awkward transitional space between doing something and not doing something that people perhaps aren't entirely comfortable with.
But I I I want to like take a pen and glue it to the floor and see how fast people get really upset.
Uh, Probably. I guess it depends on the task. Like, if they really need that pen, they're gonna get quite agitated very quickly. But if it's kind of just introducing someone to a pen with no attachment, it sounds like a strange thing to say, but like you'd become quite attached to your writing utensil if you need it for some task, big or small, and it can range from I need a pen to just write down a grocery list in 5 seconds, or I need my pen to take this test in school so I don't flunk. You're going to have varying degrees, so maybe if you glue a student's pen to the floor and they couldn't pick it up, they're going to get quite mad and a little bit stressed out, and perhaps see if they can rip it out with their raw gorilla strength, or try and ask someone else for a different utensil.
Tear the tile off the floor.
I mean, depending on these cheap school buildings.
Yeah.
I had plenty of those.
Or excuse me, tear the linoleum off the floor.
Oh, yeah. Most of my school classrooms were in like these little storage units. They called portables. They just plant one in the ground, just plant wooden steps. You figured out from there. They were incredibly haphazard. They looked like borderline Soviet architecture, but they had about 20 of them, my old high school, so you could very feasibly rip the tiles off the floor and the ceiling if you so pleased.
I need to go to my local high school and test this theory. I'm not going to warn them beforehand, though.
I mean, that kind of psychology would probably make for amazing video content of how quickly you can rage bait someone with a pen glued to the floor and just test reactions. You might want to keep it to yourself before Mr. Beast gets any ideas.
Have somebody with a heart rate monitor attached.
I mean, you could even do that like in editing, like especially for that kind of borderline, I guess soap opera almost kind of content, because I am kind of picturing it through like a Mr. Beast lens. You can almost just lie. It's like, yeah, heart rate's whatever I say it is.
I threw 1,000 pens onto the floor of this high school.
Like, for real. Very. I understand the appeal of Mr. Beast. I don't watch. If I wanted to watch stuff that was edited like that, I'd just get a cable subscription. I think there's a very, I try to keep a very kind of low-budgeted home movies aesthetic of, it's very simple. I don't edit my videos too much. I am just a guy with a microphone and Adobe Premiere that I definitely paid for. And some people really like to edit. That's fine. There's plenty of people with way better editing than I am. All right, I'm still kind of wowed with cross dissolving every time I transition with footage, but a lot of people put a super intense production value, which does kind of create more jobs, because when a YouTuber gets really big, editing is the first thing they circumvent to someone else, because that takes a lot of time, and it's really boring. I don't think anyone actually likes editing. I don't. It's probably my least favorite part of the process, assembly editing, but I don't know. I try and keep the opposite. I try and keep things very low-key. I don't want it to become too polished. It almost feels like, in a way, you connect less with the person making it if it's so sanitized. And maybe that's just my more warped perspective on it, but I was very used to seeing people, like, I saw many creators at the time, like, record stuff in a bedroom. Very relatable. It felt like you were almost, having a one-sided conversation, which is kind of parasocial to say, but that's just how people are. We're naturally social creatures, so you kind of latch yourself onto that, and things that remind you of your own situation, that your own experiences, are going to feel a little bit more relatable. And when people move that, like, this is a very strange example, but when... I'm also going to sound very old when I say it, but when Equals 3, Ray William Johnson was all the rage, I started watching him when he was recording, like, in his apartments, where you can see his, like, unfolded laundry in bed. Maybe not the most glamorous decorum, but I just felt like it was a guy. It was just someone recording, and that was more entertaining. And he moved to a studio when Equals 3, for a brief time, was the most popular show on YouTube. It wasn't for very long. I think Smosh kind of took that crown, but it's very interesting how he went from like the studio, and then it didn't feel as nice because like you heard the echo and there was people working on it. There was more production that didn't feel like he was calling the shots because he wasn't fascinated with the software he just obtained. It was just someone consulted the brand to tell them to do it like this. Like it was very managerial, cold marketing decisions, which isn't to dunk. There's nothing wrong with wanting to take your channel in that direction. It's ultimately yours, and but I think there's a kind of effect where people who have watched you from the beginning get very stubborn in their ways and stop watching, and like the mentality of like you were better when you were like when like you were smaller, just finding out, like just starting out. That mentality is very common, and basically anyone who has a following will like with like a large enough following will get people like that. I think it's natural human psychology to do that, but that is something I've always thought about. Like how much more polish and effort do I put in? Do I risk being labeled as like a sellout? That was a big thing when I started doing some sponsor reads. I don't like doing them anymore because most of the products are terrible and I hate dealing with those emails, but I was really worried about that. It's like, is this like when I get that small fracture of people who liked my old stuff but can't stand what I do now? And it is natural. I felt that myself. Part of the reason I even started the channel is because I was like the biggest fan of Some Ordinary Gamers, Mutahar, way back when. He was the inspiration for the channel, and like what he did back then was just Let's Plays, and he read creepypastas. Now he's more of like a news channel. He'll do tech news, some politics, some drama stuff, which is fine. He's an adult. He can do whatever he wants with his channel. But it's just not what I'm entirely interested in seeing. And I kind of fell into that mentality myself. Like, oh, he was better when he was doing stuff I liked. And he had the worst microphone, the crappy laptop. When he was like much more outwardly flawed. It gives a very warm, nostalgic home movie sense, if I'm making any sense at all.
No, I totally understand that, and like what's the word I'm looking for? Like with my channel, I'm strictly here for fun. Like
Okay.
I've never gotten a sponsor thing, and I don't intend to. I don't really want to make money. If I happen to, great, but it's not the end goal. I'm here like I do Demasked because I want to. That sort of thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that's a weird miscommunication I've had with other even smaller channels, where it's like, well, I don't get why you want to talk to me. I don't have that many subscribers. Like, that's not the point.
Exactly. I feel that too. I feel like there's a lot of people who are strictly operating on passion. Some of them blow up, some of them don't. For a while, I didn't make any money because I just wasn't reaching monetization. I had a couple of videos get a couple tens of thousands of views, but it takes more than that when I was starting in 2023. But there is absolutely, I would argue, people like you are kind of the backbone of YouTube. The slogan for a long time, I don't even know if they use it because YouTube is so corporate now, is broadcast yourself.
Yeah.
You're supposed to kind of put the more entertaining, creative side. And I was worried about that when I started getting paid because some decisions do affect my outcome. Like I've had some videos removed, I've had to censor some stuff. Music is a nightmare because just the copyright is so much more painful to deal with now that I have more of a financial aspect. My personal dream is to make enough on Patreon to never worry about that and I could just make whatever. That'll take a while, but I think YouTube personally still works better as a fun side project. I've made it kind of a career, so I'm being kind of hypocritical. But what you're doing, I would argue, is much more important because you're not concerned with pleasing an algorithm. You're putting this out there from what you've been describing for yourself, and I think that's much more admirable, at least from my perspective, than putting it out for the sake of a career. I think that's where the pure passion comes from, and you can tell. You can absolutely tell.
Well, so I started doing YouTube altogether in 2017, and I had that sort of what's it called? What's the term? The paralysis of choice.
Yes, you mentioned.
Where there's so much I could do, and then I tried to narrow it down to like, well, what do people want to see? But then I couldn't bring myself to fall into that aspect, because I feel like it would just end with me chasing trends. And to a degree, there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely, like, move where your audience wants you to move, but also retain some creative freedoms in what you put out there. But then I thought of the sort of the flip side of that, of what would I like to see out of my channel.
Exactly. That's nobody knows what they're doing when they start out. I certainly didn't. My plan in 2023 was I was going to be 1/3 a Team Fortress 2 channel, 1/3 a like Mario gameplay channel, and then 1/3 variety, which is not the move. The advice I give everyone starting out is pick a niche, figure out what you can bring to the table, what others can't, and be prepared to stick with it for a decade. Which sounds quite tumultuous, but really you have to build your craft, because your first couple of videos, unless you're starting a new channel or you're like a generational talent, they're not going to be good. My videos sucked, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was so confused, like, why is this only getting 100 views? Well, because I had a bad title, a bad thumbnail, the video was in 360p. Like, you only really notice these things in hindsight. So what I would have done if I like went back in time is I would have just made about 10 videos in private, because you just get to improve every time with learning how the software works, learning how to carry like vocal delivery. Just, you're going to improve naturally, even if you're not making a conscious effort. Like, I haven't tried to speak more coherently or speak in a certain manner of like tone, but I tried to put on like more of a voice. Like, I would kind of approach the microphone to sound like edgier when trying to read kind of a horror topic, which I mean, I'm looking at it now, I can't even listen to that. It's just so cringeworthy. But now I'm just much more comfortable being myself. Like, a lot of people don't like hearing the sounds of their own voice, so you're going to want to record yourself a lot and get used to listening to yourself a lot, and that's just going to fade away. And I've also definitely chased trends. Like, I am not above chasing a trend. There was one, I used to kind of chase the analog horror trend on YouTube a couple years ago, partly because I needed rent money. I was kind of broke, and I had like no other options, which is
totally
like,
fair.
When I explain that to people, like, oh, okay. I mean, you need money, so whatever. It's going to staying in a house. That's fine. I don't think they're good videos, but I had a couple of them blow up. This was like years ago. This is more like old YouTube nonsense. But there was this analog horror series called, I don't think it was called that, but like the creator was called Urban Spook.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was like a whole trend. Now it is, I think it's dead. And I'm kind of partly responsible, because it became very, very popular to critique his series, because it was just a lot of shock jock. Just like he seems like a very talented painter, but like it was kind of a very unimpressive pastiche of the genre that was already receiving quite a bit of criticism, and his was kind of the nail in the coffin. I want to say it's my second most popular video. It's got like 1.2 million views, and I kind of just made it in a week because I thought it would be funny, but also I kind of wanted to chase that trend of criticism, and it ended up becoming one of the biggest videos on that topic ever. And I gained a big following from it. Even if I didn't like the video, I later explained, like, I mostly stand by what I said, but I kind of just needed rent money. I chased a trend, and I really wasn't expecting it to blow up that much. But I will say I take a little bit of pride in being one of the most infamous critiques of that series that kind of caused it to change its reputation forever. This was like before Wendigoon, before he did his video on it, that kind of ended that whole discussion. So there's definitely advantages to chasing trends. Like, I gained tens of thousands of subscribers from it. Like, I got several $1,000s from it. So there's definitely advantages, but people can definitely tell when you're not being genuine. And a lot of people, when they start out, they chase trends, which is kind of what you're supposed to do a little bit, because you will markedly go up, but most people just don't. Their heart's not in it. It's not something they necessarily care about. Like I see a million people starting out trying to do like drama content, and they just start doing 20 minutes. They don't put any effort into it, and then they're shocked that they don't get any following. Well, it's like, well, do you care about the situation? What are you providing? What difference do you make compared to the thousands of people doing the exact same thing? And I had to ask myself that question, and now I can reliably say that what puts me aside from a lot of people doing the long form kind of video game analysis content in the retrospectives is that I have a different method of delivery where I'm very soft spoken, almost to like an ASMR-esque degree, and I have like a series of rotating topics where a lot of the games I talk about are a little bit more obscure, have some like biblical themes, kind of like a bit more frightening, kind of older. Like there's a general soft collection of things and traits I have. I upload all the time. I generally choose some consistency in topics. Like you have to find your niche and ask yourself like, well, why should someone listen to you over this guy who has an established following, so YouTube recommends him outright. He has a fan base and it's natural human instinct. Well, it's like, well, 2 million people trust this guy. I'm sure he provides some kind of reliable entertainment when I need to go to sleep or I'm at work with like an AirPod in. So you really have to. The hardest part is just getting your foot in the door.
That's a fantastic point. And there's also, I want to say, for a lot of newer content creators, especially they're doing drama or even analysis videos, I think there's a question that I don't believe gets asked, not so much towards the audience or the audience asking the creator, but I think it's something that the creator doesn't ask themselves very often, which is, am I having fun?
Yeah, I know a lot of people get very burnt out, and I've gotten burnt out too, but I've mentioned it before, I'm a workaholic, so I generally just, well, this this game or this topic, I can just jump to something else. And if you are a person who suffers from burnout or generally just gets tired of some things, you really want to establish your variety style early on, because people can be very hesitant to switch that. Like if you get bored, like say one day I just make an announcement, yeah, this is my last video game video, I'm tired of games, I'm just gonna review movies. People aren't gonna like that. I've built years of a following on games. It's very difficult to just transition from one thing to another.
I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop where you're like, actually, Hylic sucks.
I just lied. It's like, yeah, I just kind of lied about all that. I needed money, so
I just made it up.
Yeah, I just made it up. Don't even worry about it. Yeah, no, I don't like reviewing games I don't like. So if I didn't like Hilux, I'd just probably cancel the video on it, because I think I'm better with praising things than criticism, because it's very easy to, anyone can criticize something. There was a whole trend like years ago of like the angry reviewers,
Yep.
who are the characters, like the angry video game nerd, nostalgia critic, who are not taking it seriously because they're playing a character. A lot of the people inspired by them were very serious. So there was a lot of very angry, very passionate critiques of things, which is fine. I'm glad people are enjoying themselves. I like to see passion regardless of how it's expressed, but it's very easy to get trapped in like a very cynical mindset, and I do believe you are what you feed your mind. So if you just keep playing and watching things you hate, and everything you make is kind of like a tear down, very negative critique, at least speaking for myself, I wouldn't want to speak for others, but it just wouldn't put me in a good mindset of, oh god, I have to watch this stupid movie that I hate, and then just talk about how reviled it made me very passionately and put it out. It'd probably get more views, but...
So funny thing about that, I've been wanting, not a series, mind you, but there is one specific game that I've been wanting to make a video on because it disappointed me.
Okay.
And it's more so that I had an expectation of what was going to occur the entire time I was playing the game, and then it did not pay off at all.
What game was it? I'm curious.
Gone Home.
Is that one of those like I think it's like a walking sim kind of puzzle game, like you're kind of investigating someone's house. Is that the game I'm thinking of? Okay. I think a friend, I might have seen them play it. That's not my genre, so I haven't played it, but I think it's a game people like to call very profound and thought-provoking. It's one of those titles.
It is, but the experience that I had with it was I was anticipating something else occurring the entirety of my playthrough. I beat it in one night.
Oh, okay.
And I'm waiting for something to happen that just never happens.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. I think now it's very hard to criticize some games, I feel like, because if you dislike a classic or like something with a really strong fan base, people voice their opinions. I think it was a lot worse back in the day. I think some of the critique is a little bit of hyperbole in YouTube comments. Most people are very friendly nowadays. It used to be much worse, but YouTube comments are very moderated and very strict comparatively.
I don't like Mario. First comment, I hope you die.
Like, a lot of those get auto-filtered into, like, auto-removal, so they don't even show up if you make any kind of threat. So you have to be extremely passionately mad at someone to not only get past all the censors, but deliver genuinely eloquent criticism. And there's nothing wrong with criticism. I would argue it's better than just getting pat in the shoulders. Like, good job. I'm not going to tell you how to do a good job, but good job. I liked it.
Yeah.
Like, thanks, but, like, cool. Like, what do I do with this? I'm glad I made you happy, but, like, do I need to improve? Because it's fine. Especially my older stuff, people would tell me, like, dude, your camera sucks. Your mic sucks. Can you, like, fix this? I liked it, but, like, can you not do that? Which is valid. That's incredibly valid to say. And sometimes I get, like, a word wrong or, like, a detail wrong that people will correct me. And I'm always very grateful for those people, because that shows, well, one, you watch the video. So I'm not just, I don't mind being background noise. I take that as a compliment, but I always do enjoy when someone points out a small detail I've hidden. It's like, well, you actually sat down with like an hour and a half of your time and watched that. People's time is very precious, so I take that into strong consideration. But like for example, I dislike Undertale. I really don't like that game very much, and I get into very friendly arguments. It's not very serious, but I'm like the only person I know almost online who dislikes the game. And like if I had made a video critiquing it with there is a difference obviously in critiquing something thoughtfully versus just screaming you don't like it.
Yeah.
But I think people would be more willing to listen now. But if you made a video called Why I Hate Undertale in 2016, you'd be fed to the wolves. It was a nightmare.
You'd
like
be a social pariah at that point.
Completely. It's hard to criticize like well-acclaimed stuff. Like every time Nostalgia Critic criticized something, like he did a review of The Wall, the Pink Floyd movie. That
yeah.
It was. I mean, it was kind of a questionable video. He put some effort into it. It was just kind of weird. I don't know if he interpreted it in the way I would. But the Wall is like a beloved album and movie that has an incredibly strong following of like everyone's dad. So everyone's dad got mad at Doug Walker, justifiably in some cases. Not like getting mad at someone for disliking something you're very passionate about isn't like a valid human reaction. But it's like it does be kind of like a dog pile. Like, are you defending it because you like it, or are you defending it because everyone you know likes it and you kind of just want to be there socially, which is like a natural human response. Like I've done stuff like that. I'm certainly not above doing anything like that, but trying to criticize something with such an esteemed reputation is very, very difficult, and people will ride you very roughly for it, much more eloquently in the comments. Like you can get some insane verbal abuse like 10 years ago in the YouTube comments. They did not care. It was kind of ridiculous. Now it's very sanitized. Like it's almost indistinguishable from like a Reddit comment section of kind of platitudes in general. You can't say any curse words, and if you can, you really got to try and hide them.
Well, what gets me is like, so years ago, it was a problem I genuinely used to have. I used to be a very angry person when I was younger.
Oh yeah.
Like,
okay.
like just sort of mad at the world sort of thing. Like I'm upset, but I can't quite put into words why. And
Chip on your shoulder, kind of just generally moody.
yeah, but then it started to sort of bleed into things like genres of things that I enjoy. Like, oh, I hate this comic book. I'm not sure why, but I hate it. I hate it so much. And weirdly enough, it was the movie Frozen that helped turn me around. So, so I hate the movie Frozen. I hate that movie.
I think I've seen it enough times to not ever want to see it again.
But the thing is, it wasn't, I hate it because I hate it. I was like, okay, I hate it, and here's an itemized list as to why I hate it, so I can fully understand why I hate it.
Yeah, just like decisions in the film that you don't enjoy. It's not just kind of a general distaste of everything it does, but like a very calculated breakdown.
Yeah. And I've started doing that ever since then more frequently, where I'll sort of stop and look at something. It's like, oh, I hate that, but why do I hate it? And if I can fully justify to myself, like, here are a list of reasons why I don't eat, like, even if I don't enjoy something, I can at least tell you why, not just, it sucks and you suck for liking it.
Yeah, people really, really do not care for being personally criticized for being a fan. That is like the easiest way to have someone kind of disregard your opinion entirely, like a personal attack, even if it's not always intended. People generally feel personally persecuted if you happen to dislike something. They hold quite a bit to their identity. It does kind of depend on the thing, especially with video games. A lot of people kind of closely associate that with how their personal online identities, especially if they're younger. Like a teenager would get really into a specific game or series, and that's part of their core upbringing. So criticizing that in a way in their minds is like criticizing a part of themselves, which no one would really want to happen. So they're going to react quite harshly. And there's like a natural separation of like logic and feelings that'll just happen when you stop being a teenager. Some earlier or later than others. Like, I think I started a bit earlier. I'm not a super emotional person to begin with, so maybe 14, 15, I was able to stop being so upset. And it's like, well, why am I frowning so much at seeing like a movie or a game I don't like? I can figure it out. Like, you can generally sort aside your feelings.
So here, this will start an argument. Hey, teenager listening to this video, if you're even out there, whatever Roblox game you like, I hate. Good luck with that one.
Exactly. I haven't played Roblox since maybe 2009. Actually, that's a lie. I think I played like the dress up game once with a friend because I was like coaxed into it. I mean, men's fashion is not advantageous, but I will say I was very good at that Roblox dress up game for girls. But
I was fabulous, damn it.
I was. I have many screenshots of, I don't even know what kids call it. Like stupid. I had what was it, the Riz, like the Roblox Riz or something.
Uh-huh.
Oh well, it's very weird. I preferred obbies, just like the little platforming things. But Roblox has gotten weird. A lot of weird stuff goes on in there. People get really into the game, like I've never seen any other game before. It's a bit intimidating.
Have you ever played Second Life?
I have not. I've played a lot of those games. Like I used to love Gmod servers. I used to play Tower Unite. I've played maybe 1 hour of VR chat. I've never played Second Life.
Second Life is an entirely new animal in relation to like VR chat. So like let's take VR chat as sort of the baseline. Like you go in there and of course there's people with like funny avatars and whatnot, but then there's just an ocean of anime girls, right?
Yeah, that is par for the course for a lot of genres like that.
But then you go over to Second Life and it's this weird like okay. So I'm gonna try to put this in like the most PG-13 way I can. I literally started the game, and you're like in a town square, and they're like, "Hey, there's a shop you can go in there," and you can. It's how you customize your character is not like VR chat or The
Okay.
Sims. There's no menu of like, oh, you just put on your hat. It's you're working with like a literal 3D modeling software.
Oh, jeez.
Like you have a baseline character, but then you can put the hat anywhere on your person and have it like float over your head if you want. It's bizarre. It's like working in Blender.
It
But
does sound very intense.
it is. So I walk in and I have like this basic character that the game starts you out with. It's just like a guy in a suit and tie. And I walk into the store and it's like, "Hey, you can buy this jacket." And I go, "Great, but I should mention all of this is community made. All
Oh, okay.
all contributions are from the community. So they don't hold any like copyright. So it's like, "Hey, you want to buy a Carhartt jacket to put on your character?" And I'm like, "Okay, that's kind of neat." And then I like rounded a corner and it's a room with walls, and I'm talking like it's the size of somebody's house. Walls of pictures of there's no other way to put it. Pictures of dicks on the wall.
Oh, oh.
And it's like, "Hey, what do you want on your character?" I'm like, "What? Oh no."
None of this, please.
I just wanted a cool hat. I mean, it can be a cool hat, but I'd look like a messed up unicorn.
Ooh. Yeah, I get like a matching toque for that Carhartt jacket. Was not expecting this. Second Life's like old. It's been around for like 20 years. Has to be.
They,
And I saw like an episode of The Office, like 2010 or something, that had Second Life in it. Like it was a big thing. Every sitcom had like a X gets addicted to Second Life episode.
or World of Warcraft, or yeah.
Warcraft is weird. I never played it. I've never touched MMOs. It just seems like a giant time sink. And my first introduction to Warcraft, this was a weird school thing, but part of the culture of like the school I went to at the time was if someone found out you played World of Warcraft or any like MMO, they would just like beat you up. It's very weird to explain, but it's like, "Oh, this guy plays Warcraft. Let's throw him in the garbage."
Nerd.
So, yeah, kind of, which is weird because we'd all played games. Like, we were not better at all, but if we found out you played World of Warcraft, it's like, "Oh, you're going in the dumpster," which, I mean, I'd say we're taking lunch money, but we don't have lunch money in Canada, so taking your,
Broke.
like, sack lunch or something. But I can legitimately say to anyone who's played Warcraft, we used to beat people up for saying that. It was a ridiculous story. I don't know why it happened, but I've forever associated that with the genre. I've just never, ever wanted to engage. I don't play many multiplayer games to begin with. I'm very staunchly single player. Every once in a while, I'll play Team Fortress 2, but it's just not the way I play games. I like story games much, much more.
Well, like, I'm very glad that the zeitgeist surrounding people who play video games has turned around the way it has. Because like,
Yeah, it used to be demonized, like in the kind of the 80s. You were kind of like a nerd, I think, back then.
well, like even in
At
the
least-
even in the early 2000s, and the thing is, like, I was one of those kids. I still am one of those kids. I'm a dork, but I remember so clearly, like, telling somebody like a girl I had a crush on in elementary school, like, "Yeah, I play Spider-Man on the PlayStation 1," and they just like, "Oh, ew."
It's like their face scrunched up in disgust, like, "Oh god, you're one of those people. Why can't you play Scrabble like the rest of us normal people?"
How come you don't play tackle football?
Oh god. I guess I'll show my age, but I was born in the early 2000s, but I had a very 90s childhood just because it was so close. But
Shut up,
so like I
Peter.
had
Make me feel old.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it because when you're born into like a lower income family at that time, so you get a lot of stuff from the 90s. So it was still a very 90s experience. So I started with like the Super Nintendo and I had to work my way up, and only like the last couple years have I really, like, I got a PS5 last year, so I've finally, for once, not been behind a whole generation, which I was my entire life. But it was kind of nice because around the 2000s is kind of when the stigma of gaming was going away. It became such a global phenomenon. So by the time I was interacting with people at school, and especially in like the 2010s online, it's like, well, okay, this is accepted. Versus like my folks who were there with the inception of like the NES. Like video games today, everything is a Game Boy. Games have not progressed past. I think the last console my dad ever really cared about was the PlayStation 2. He had an Xbox, but never really used it for much. So the PS2 and like Grand Theft Auto 3, San Andreas, Vice City, that games peaked there. He's not looked back. He's not wrong for that in a lot of ways. I think he's kind of right. But like their nostalgia is very, oh, like Mario Brothers is like something you play with just two people and you don't tell anybody at school because it was 1985.
You hide your shame.
Yeah, they had to make the NES look like a VCR or something like that, because if they released the Famicom as it was, but I mean, I love how the Famicom looks. I love that red and white look, but it looked like a kid's toy. You had to make it look edgy for like the American audience, which kind of trickled down to the Canadian audience. But it's very interesting how gaming is perceived, because now it's even crazier where people can make full careers from it, and it's almost expected to play games. I feel like it's more shocking to hear someone say they've never played a game, or they have zero interest in games whatsoever, than someone who is like actively into them.
Well, like, it's, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, so, and it's, I find it interesting that even like parents nowadays that do keep up with gaming trends still fall into the pitfalls of how game design functioned back in like the late 90s and early 2000s. Like my dad's the prime example. He's very good at Call of Duty, but he can't play Fallout 4.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more micromanaging with a lot of games now, but it's also because we're not working in like a vacuum. Like when the NES came out, there was almost no rules. So, and everything was much more simple. Like, you only had so many buttons. But now there is so many buttons and sub-features, because, like, when Fallout 4 comes out, it's coming out after 4 Fallout games, which is very weird to say for the 4th title, but,
Well, it's more, how do I word it? It's not the micromanaging thing that he couldn't get behind. It's that, okay, you've played Fallout 4, yes? Or at least a little bit?
I've only played 3 in New Vegas, but I've seen how Fallout 4 works. I can know how it plays.
So, not the micromanaging thing, not the saving settlements or even settlement building. He couldn't get past the first 20 minutes.
Like the intro?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's because he's from the era of Doom. That
Yeah, just right into the game.
Well, not only that, but the concept that anybody who isn't you is trying to kill you.
Oh, okay.
And so, do you know the butler, the robot butler Codsworth?
Yes. Yeah, I know him.
He did the entire intro. He went into the vault. He was frozen, got thawed out, went back into Sanctuary Hills, and then immediately tried to kill Codsworth.
Yeah, I see that. It's because games are capable of entire like worlds and how do I explain it? Kind of just more expectations. Whereas games for a long time, 80s, 90s, was just kill everyone in sight because that's just how they were programmed. That's like the environment they were in. But now there's like a functioning in-game community and world trying to replicate of like a fictional setting. They're very complicated, and especially if you're not willing to learn that, it's probably really weird. Like I remember with the PlayStation, like my dad doesn't play story games, he doesn't play games anymore, but his favorite PlayStation games was Twisted Metal. So he would just mash cutscenes, get in the race, kill people.
Oh yeah.
Like he would not play any of the like the RPGs. I think he might have played D&D, but he just never made the connection. Cause he was playing like 1980s D&D. So very I mean, I've only played D&D like once, so I don't even know what I'm talking about there, but the games to him, he knows that like they're bigger and they have stories, but he just does not care to interpret them or watch anything. When he cannot control the game, he is not having fun whatsoever. So he doesn't play campaigns for COD when he used to play COD. He does not understand when I'm trying to play a JRPG and I'm not touching the controller, or it's just like, why is this all text? Like, how is this fun for you? And I think plenty of people are still like that. There's a huge casual audience of people who only play like FIFA, who don't want to play any of that other stuff. But it's definitely an older generation thing where kind of the expectations. If you didn't grow up with like a specific genre, you might not just get it. It depends on the person, but someone who grew up on Nintendo only played like very simple platformers who does not want to learn is very different from someone who grew up on Ultima, on like the Apple II, who can kind of understand those concepts more, and is like understand more fictional world building. It's not to say that someone can't just jump into games from an old age, but old people don't like to learn very much. They're done. They're done with that.
Well, so my dad used to be the guy through my childhood and early teenage years, was the guy to buy the newest Call of Duty right when it came out, not for its story, but for its
multiplayer, zombies maybe.
And I so clearly remember, like, so he was this big proponent of, like, you know, oh, we got to have, you know, quiet in the house, so, you know, wear your headphones whenever you play or something like that.
Okay.
But he wouldn't follow that. He would have the headset on so he could hear his teammates, but the sound would be coming through the TV, and he would yell at the TV when he died, and it wasn't like middle of the day or around dinner time. It'd be in the middle of the night when I'm trying to sleep.
That's like the opposite.
And well, like, I so clearly remember multiple nights of like, all right, I got to get up for school at like 7:30 in the morning, and then I'm falling asleep and I hear across the house, boom, damn it.
Yeah, it's like the opposite. Usually like the teenage son is the one screaming that wakes up the family. Like, that's how I was doing it. Like, I'd be screaming at COD and they would tell me to shut up at like 2 a.m. But yeah, he had it like totally reversed.
Well, like, and we even went the extra mile. Did you ever use Turtle Beach headsets back in the day?
God, Xbox 360 days, absolutely.
But the ones with the
microphone.
It was that one with the infrared sensor where you could hear the game.
Oh, I don't think I had those ones, but I've definitely used Turtle Beaches. Those were my go-to for quite a bit of years.
But I had the ones that it had like a little sort of infrared lighthouse that you had to kind of sit in front of with the headset, and it would wirelessly play the audio in the headset.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah. And the thing is, thanks to that, I am now stuck forever wearing headphones when I play games. Like, I never have it playing through my speakers, even when I'm here at my PC and I'm entirely alone. No, I'll just, because I like having all of the sound in my ears.
That makes sense. I have a roommate, so when I'm on PC, I try and keep headphones. I mean, he keeps to himself, but when I play game consoles, if I'm not hearing any complaints, I'm doing no wrong. So you're hearing whatever I'm hearing throughout the speakers there, bud.
I mean, then there's times where I catch my partner playing Honey Pop in the next room.
Yeah, I guess depending on the game, you definitely wouldn't want someone else to hear it. I don't generally play a lot of... I don't know much about Honey Pop. Maybe I'm kind of overestimating like the raunchiness of it, but a lot of games where you would like look over your shoulder or make sure your audio is playing only through your headphones so no one else hears. I don't generally play that many games because like I do like my Japanese games quite a bit, but I'll keep on the lookout just to make sure my roommate isn't there, because
make sure your door's
I would like
locked.
Yeah, I would like to. I don't usually play stuff like Honey Pop, but like I'm in the living room. I don't even have like the room set up here, so I really have to be diligent. It'd be very embarrassing.
My partner / producer has handed me a note telling you telling me to tell you that their current screen name is Supreme Gooner
Oh, I mean, I
on
I
Steam.
guess the honey pop makes more sense with that name.
You're right. The
Like
Honey Pop does make more sense.
I've seen screenshots. I have not played it, but I think there is more like sexual content to it. I guess
There
it
is.
depends. Yeah, like I don't generally play games like that. I do like a couple share of like anime games. I don't watch a lot of anime. I just prefer the games. It can definitely get kind of crazy. So if I'm playing like a visual novel, they can get pretty raunchy. So I do have to have like an eye in the back of my skull just in case one of those CGs is a little bit crazy.
Did you ever have that thing growing up where you're playing a game and out of nowhere where there'll be something risque and it's right when your parents walk in?
Uh, kind of, yes. I guess it sort of depends. When I was maybe 7 or 8 on PlayStation 2, I was playing Ratchet and Clank 3. It's a great game, and I was in the Courtney Gears boss fight. Very not so subtle parody of Britney Spears, and she's like this robot lady with like a mini skirt and a very smoky voice, and you have to like beat her for a boss fight. And like the game involves a bunch of like crazy sci-fi weapons you have to like kill her with. And when I saw that, my mom got really mad because it was like, what are you doing with this violence against women in games? Like, don't make me take this away from you. It's like, you don't understand. She hit me first, Mom. You don't understand. I think the second one was, it happens more with movies, but the second one, I was playing Pokemon Black on the DS, and a character in the game asks you if they should wear a white or black bikini, and you don't even see it. Was just a decision. It doesn't actually affect anything in the game. You don't see anything. It was just a decision. And I was 10, and I took it in complete earnesty. I'm like, okay, I don't know what color she would prefer. So I walked up to my mom with my DS in my hand. I did it to myself, really. And I asked, like, Mom, should she wear a black or white bikini? And she just got really like outrageously mad that my Pokemon game on the DS would ask that question. So she threatened to take it away from me. I didn't learn my lesson because I asked my grandma the same thing, and then just no hesitation, just black, white would be see through. So shout out to Grandma for being chill and helping me. But I was completely earnest with that. I wasn't thinking about it in that scenario. I was like, okay, well, this character like actually needs my advice and help, but I don't know, so I'm gonna ask the women in my life as a 10-year-old for genuine advice, and I was just not picking up the implications of what this character was putting down.
Have you ever played the game The Saboteur?
I've heard of it. It's like an Xbox 360 game. Takes place in like, I would say like Nazi-occupied Europe. You're like a Frenchman, I think.
So you're an Irishman right in the middle of Nazi-occupied France.
Okay.
And like the whole idea is to liberate France and all this. It's essentially, to boil it way down, it's essentially Assassin's Creed with guns.
It looks like an open world. It looks cool. I've seen a lot of people praise the game recently. I might have to play it soon.
It's wonderful, and also the art direction is fantastic. They have a super fast side note to dictate visually where areas are under the control of Nazi occupation. All the colors will fade out except for 3 colors. I believe it's red, blue, and yellow, like the primary colors.
Okay.
And so you're driving along, and all the color fades away, but you can see like the red banners and like the red markings on soldiers' arms and whatnot.
Right on.
But the game starts. Your hideout for a good portion of the story is inside of a burlesque club.
Ooh.
And the story starts with like it's literally 30 seconds of a shot of a burlesque show.
Oh.
And I got this game, and none of the marketing on it anywhere says anything remotely close to that. There's no photos. It's literally like, take the fight to the Nazis and take back France. And
Yeah, like it's an action game.
yeah, I'm like, awesome. Can't wait to boot it up. And the second the game starts and the credits roll, my dad walks into the room. Hey, what are you playing? And then it's just
Oh.
just women in bras on stage. And he's like, what the hell?
Oh no.
And what's worse is the exact same thing happened with Duke Nukem Forever.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly the part you're talking about too. I'm pretty sure.
But here's the kicker. It was again my dad. So I should mention I never had a game console in my room. So anytime
Living room.
Yes.
Yeah, it was in living room. Okay.
on a big old flat screen, which funny enough I have now. It was given to me as a housewarming gift, a 200-pound plasma screen from like 2006.
I mean, one of those, you'd probably set you up for life. I have a CRT in my room still. When I moved out. Oh.
It generates so much heat, it warms up my apartment. I don't like it.
I mean, I guess depends where you live, but in those winter months, it might be very useful.
I'm in Texas.
Never mind. That's horrible. God. That's
Not,
probably sweltering.
not for much longer, I hope.
Oh.
But I like, so each loading screen shows the name of the upcoming section you're about to play. And so my dad goes, how's that new Duke Nukem game? Because it was right when it came out. And he looks over and he just says, Duke's Titty City. And I'm just, oh.
Oh, Lord.
And my dad just goes, like, the thing is, like, he knew about Duke Nukem up to this point, like, even, like, Duke Nukem 3D and all this.
Oh,
And
yes.
very thankfully, he was like, yeah, that's Duke Nukem. And they walked out.
Okay, well, at least he knew what was getting onto. You don't get, like, accusations lobbied your way.
Yeah. Although, you know what the worst part about the whole story is?
Yeah.
My grandma bought the game for me.
That's kind of badass, though.
Well, she didn't know either.
Some people just don't look at the ratings. Like, I'm pretty sure Duke Nukem Forever has an M rating. I mean, I don't think our grandparents would understand that. I don't think they would care either, because if I had to get an M-rated game, I'd probably go through them, because it was very strict in my house for a long time. Like, I had to really either lie or beg to get any game that was not in my age. Like, I had to almost get on my knees to beg to play Shadow the Hedgehog on PS2 because it was E10, and I was 9. It was precariously close.
I had this day where I was trying to convince my mom to buy me Grand Theft Auto 4 when it came out.
Okay.
And like there had always been, the Jack Thompson counter argument of,
Yeah.
games make kids violent and all this. But my mom is a staunch supporter of freedom of expression and all this fun stuff. So we go into GameStop and I pick up the game and I go, I want to get this one. And the guy's like, all right, ma'am, you are aware that this has like most others Grand Theft Auto games has like hookers and strip clubs,
depictions of violence and sexuality.
Yeah. And then she looks at me and I just unprompted went, Mom, I'm mainly going to be driving on the sidewalk.
That's true. I feel like like half the kids who, like when I played GTA as a kid, I didn't go to any of that. And every time that event would come up, I was playing, I was like, oh, I'm not doing that. I want to drive around and hit people. I'm not trying to see all that.
How do I skip this?
Yeah, literally, like GTA was weird because my household was a bit restrictive on stuff like that, but my dad loved GTA, so he just had all the games, so I just have to sneak into his room and play them, either like San Andreas on the PS2 or 4 on the PS3. So that was like a weird blind spot, because usually that's like the one that parents get mad about. It's like you can do everything except that game. But it was like the opposite, where so much stuff was banned. Like I couldn't watch Harry Potter, but GTA was fine. Okay.
Well, like my dad did this with music a lot too. He liked to treat certain video games like Grand Theft Auto and like certain comic books and whatnot. He would treat it almost like contraband, but not so much.
Okay.
But not in the way of like, why do you have this? But he would sit there and kind of look around, and he's like, "Hey, you want to watch Freddy vs. Jason?" Like,
Yeah, just like when your mom's not around, come downstairs. We can watch this.
yeah, we're
Kind of just.
I'm gonna show you Rocky Horror Picture Show. Let's.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, my pops was like that. He loved horror movies. Music, they kind of let me have free reign over. I don't even know what they listen to be honest, because I never caught them listening to music. But
Well, like my dad kept all of his, like, specifically for music. My dad kept all of his CDs in his closet in the master bedroom.
okay.
And so it was like the metaphorical, like, trench coat opening with, like, lined with pockets, because he'd walk me into the room. He's like, "Hey," and then he'd lean into the closet, grab like 3 CDs, and he's like, "All right, listen to these."
Yeah, it's like, listen, mom's not home for the weekend. She's out with her friends. We're gonna go in the basement. I gotta get this band, kid. Okay, it's called Korn. You're never gonna be the same.
You and me, we're gonna listen to Tenacious D.
Ooh, that's I'd argue that's a much more wholesome choice between father and son. That's not too raunchy, but it is.
Are you
It's kind of.
kidding
I mean, not in like the way that other contraband bands are. Like, I would rather a child listen to Tenacious D than like the first Korn album or something really out there.
Black Flag or something.
Yeah, Black Flag, Slipknot. I mean, Slipknot's not that bad, but that general pastiche.
No, I just remember like, okay, you ever played like the first Grand Theft Auto?
I haven't. It's top down though, isn't it?
It is, but it keeps all of the language.
Okay.
But it's really weird to hear like a bit crushed. Fuck you. As you're...
That'd probably be shocking, yeah, if you're a child. Like, I mean, I wasn't used to cursing and stuff. I mean, I guess depends. Like, I guess I kind of blocked out the GTA cursing. It's like, well, I shouldn't say that. So, like, I'm just gonna pretend CJ didn't say that word.
Aw, shucks, here we go again.
And for real, like, I think TV is when it started to get raunchy. I was like, oh heavens, they're saying "damn it" and pissed off on a regular show. Goodness.
That was a moment where I was like, whoa, they put that on Cartoon Network.
Damn. Even though, like, it's like a weird thing in childhood where you watch stuff you clearly shouldn't be watching with no effect, but something that you should be watching that's like kind of edgy has more of an impact. It's like, I wasn't expecting that to happen. Like, the same child I was who was like afraid of the Robot Chicken intro, watching Robot Chicken, which is like very raunchy and very foul mouth when it wants to be, and then getting shocked by something on daytime Teletoon, because we didn't have a typical Cartoon Network here. But
Or those moments in SpongeBob where it is outright horror.
yeah, like just those. It's the unexpectedness that would always take me off guard. It's like, oh my god,
Nosferatu.
it's ridiculous.
I do. I've been wanting. So, you know what? Here's a question I've been meaning to ask more people.
Sure.
When, in regards to video games, when I say the word home, where is home to you?
Oh, like just referring to video games. Okay.
Like,
That's a good question.
like, where does your mind go back to when you think like I'm home?
Okay, well, the first answer that it's very cliched, but I always had a really a real fondness for the castle in Mario 64. I had played the Nintendo 64 from a pretty young age, and I felt it was always very comforting to go to like spawn outside there, then go back and just kind of explore it like your house. I moved around a lot, so like I never really viewed one place as my home, because it'd be 3-4 years later, pack your stuff up, we got to move like across the province.
I get you.
So just that general consistency you would get, but also when you play the game more, you explore more of the castle, like more of the wings are unlocked, more of the doors. And I think depending on your formative age, say you're 7 or 8, I think in a sort of a weird way, it would kind of match the experience of growing up in your own house, where it's like, well, I don't know what goes on in my dad's study. It's like mysterious. It's like Bowser's castle up there or something. And then kind of almost in tandem, as you'd unlock more of the Mario 64 castle, you discover more of your house, more of the outside world. I think it matches that general kind of curious, inquisitive nature that kids naturally have, while also feeling consistent. That, I mean, you imagine that, at least I did, I imagine that some games were endless. Like, you could convince me of anything that would happen in Mario 64, because that game seemed like it would never end. And to be infinite stars and, like, worlds and whatnot. So you kind of get to discover things at your own pace. I think it's a very cherished, nostalgic memory that I don't think of a specific home I grew up in, but I think of just the emotions and things I felt, rather. It's very in tandem.
Gotcha. Well, the reason I ask is I've been trying to look into making a video about this exact topic, because while people associate certain games generally with points in their life, I feel there are certain places in those games that people associate with the feeling of home. And some of the answers I've gotten so far are actually very wide and varying. Like, I've asked about 8 or 9 people at this point, and yours is the first time I've heard the castle in Mario 64.
Really? I thought it'd be more common.
Surprisingly,
Really?
like one of the ones that I got was the demo level for the Xbox 360 version of Minecraft.
Okay.
And then another one which really surprised me, which was the streets of Raccoon City from Resident Evil 3.
Huh, yeah, I would have never expected that.
Right?
Huh.
And, like, to answer my own question, mine is the Gary's Mod map, Hometown 1999.
Oh, geez, that's a deep cut.
Right?
Yeah, that is like a deep cut.
It's genuinely a place of solace for me. Something about going to that little, like, computer shop. I don't know.
Oh yeah, just like the really specific nooks and crannies. Like, it scratches something in your mind you don't really understand. You can't really put words to it, but you just associate a feeling and a place.
Yeah.
It isn't. Not everything reminds me of home. A lot of stuff reminds me of car rides, because I lived like across from, like, an hour away from everywhere. So I had to take long car rides all the time as a kid. So I was really into handheld games for a long time.
Yeah.
But just specific games will always remind me of being a kid playing in the car. A lot of Game Boy Advance Pokemon games, because that's what I was obsessed with. But a really specific one I always had, I played Sonic Advance 3 on the Game Boy Advance. But specifically, because I think there's about 5-6 worlds, but like World 3 and 5 always make me think of like long car rides. And those are like the rain and snow areas respectively. So you get a lot of rain and snow depending on the seasons. It always just reminds me of being like 8 years old, not even having a good time. That game isn't great. I don't actually enjoy it that much, but I played it a ton because you only had so many games to bring with you on obnoxiously long car rides. But
your pockets can only hold so many cartridges.
Exactly. Like, carrying cases, you had to buy those separately. So those specific areas always did remind me of like being very young, precariously getting car rides across like the freezing Canadian winters.
I think I'm gonna continue on with that, like that video idea, because it's one that I started and then kind of pushed to the side.
Yeah, because it's not always hub worlds. Like, I was thinking hub worlds, like with Mario 64 Castle, that is the hub world, but it can always just be, like you mentioned with the example of your Gary's Mod map, or just the starting hours of like Resident Evil. It can be something really specific, and you can't really predict when it hits. But I think when it hits, it's never gonna leave you.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you just I mean, maybe it's a bit introspective to do at such like a young age, but there's some really specific games and moments and like pieces of music that I've worked on some of these, especially for my video on Drawn to Life. I think I even made commentary where I did genuinely consider this will probably be one of my last memories. Like when I die, I'm probably going to think about this close to my death. For just like what it made me feel at such a young age. Just remembering some of like the music progressions and the areas and some of the dialogue. It's probably going to be it. I couldn't predict that exactly. Who knows? And hopefully when I die of the ripe old age of 120 on my farm with my 38 grandchildren, but you never know. But I think there comes a time in young adulthood where you really consider the stuff and the time you've spent with specific products and games in this very very like consumerist way, I guess, because it's such a recent thing. Like you kind of have to be born a certain decade to really think like that. Like what games and areas will I remember when I'm gone, like when I die? But I think at least for me, there's just some stuff I'm gonna keep with me.
Well, I think I think that concept has always existed of like, if not games that give you comfort, but items.
A movie, a book, a specific item. Yeah.
Like I actually, I want to say about a year or two ago, watched my dad's a fairly stoic, keeps to himself kind of guy.
Yeah.
I got to witness him become a teenager for like 10 seconds, and it was fascinating.
Oh wow. Just like watching a movie that reminded him of that, or
no, it was an object. So my grandma, his mom, had passed away a few years back due to COVID.
Okay.
Many poor decisions on her part, and that there's honestly no better way to put that. She decided it would be a good idea to go to the casino while immunocompromised during the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, but after she had passed on, we decided to clear out her house, and there's nothing that we really wanted to hold on to because it was all stuff that she had collected just in the last few years. Clothes from like Kohl's. I don't know if that exists in Canada. Like
I've heard of it, but it's not very common.
But just the clothes she bought but never wore. She kind of hoarded stuff that she would buy. But near the end of it, we found a basket full of toys that my dad had grown up with. And I'm talking like from 70s and 80s. Like,
oh, jeez.
Like wind up cars and whatnot. It was fascinating. But I show him this bin and I go, "Hey, Dad, you want to hold on to any of this?" And he goes, "Fresman, look, I'm a 50-year-old man. I don't need any more toys." Because he did that once in a while. He kind of got a little snobbish. But I go, "All right." And I dump out the bin into the dumpster. And stuck to the bottom of the bin is a Matchbox car. Now, there was a movie made about it recently. I want to say last year or the year before. Have you seen the film Fall Guy?
I think I've seen clips of it, but I know what you're talking about.
So the more recent movie, Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling, for those at home, is a redo, or not a redo, but sort of a revamp of a show that was in the 1970s starring Lee Majors of the same name.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. But he drove a truck that was very similar to the main character's truck in this new film. And that's what that Matchbox car was Colt Seaver's truck, and it said Fall Guy on the hood. Had the logo had the logo of the TV show. And I walk up to my dad and I go, "Hey Dad, what about this?" Just thinking like I'll, bother him some more with memories.
Yeah, just like what I found, you might like this.
Yeah. And instead of him like brushing it off or like whatever, he goes, I see his face light up and he goes, "Oh shit, Fall Guy." And like I put the matchbox in his hand, and he's like, "Oh man," he's like, "Yeah, that show was around when I was a kid, and yeah, I used to watch it all the time. This was like my favorite Matchbox truck." And the whole time I'm like I had that moment in my heart of hearts where I'm like, "You're a dork," and that's where I get it from.
I think everyone has those objects. I mean, maybe it's just my own perspective, but recently, I think it's more accepted to not only keep them, but almost have them on display. Like, a lot of people are very proud, or at least very open about enjoying things from their childhood more. At least from, like, I think it's a bit harder for men to do that. There's much more of an expectation to grow up, which is not unfounded, but it is a little bit more accepted, or at least you won't get made fun of as much for liking like SpongeBob and having something you've held on to for a long, long time. So it's a really tender moment you've described there of something that obviously meant quite a bit. Where like no matter how much you'd want to like either repress those or push it down, there's just some parts of yourself like that you just can't escape. I don't know if I have many physical objects like that. Like most things I had at that point broke or got like thrown out. So but maybe I guess there'll come a time where I'll have to sort through that because looking at it from your dad's perspective, you know, he lost his parent like a parent. So he's kind of having to sort through those memories and kind of come to terms with it.
Well, like that and that initial sort of brush off of like, oh, I don't need any more toys, immediately followed by like, oh shit, it's Fall Guy.
There's my toy. It's my favorite one.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you do just outgrow stuff. Like I don't think I have many things from my youth, but I know like my folks do. Like they have like something I built, like a wooden truck or something that they'll keep. They'll probably keep more than like the house they live in. Yeah. It's just some little objects. Usually it's more accepted if it's like a picture or jewelry or something with some kind of literal or sentimental value, but it's very recent having like the value of some of these memories, like the memory of watching a movie the first time or like playing a game for the first time. And a part of the reason why I cover some of these games is that I can kind of immortalize it in some ways, or something that's I've had for a while, I can put it out there. So if I'm 103 and I don't remember what I had for breakfast that morning, I can go back in that channel if it's still up, if YouTube didn't strike it down or if the internet didn't explode. I can go back on it and like have a little bit of a time capsule for when I was 22 years old, and I can remember how I felt playing that game again, how I went on a walk and tried to rationalize my feelings on something I hadn't seriously played and like last time I was like 12.
Yeah.
I think they kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a very out of body where you're cherishing a memory that you had directly with a piece of entertainment that you can only really share secondhand. I think it's a difficult thing to communicate, but it's very interesting, and I always applaud people when they make something of it. Either they make some kind of piece inspired by it, or in my case, I just record my thoughts and feelings through like a YouTube script.
Well, and that's why I've also partially been wanting to do that, you know, where is home to you when it comes to video games, because even what I want is how you described the Mario 64 castle to me, where you were not describing the area itself, but how you felt when you were in that area.
Exactly.
And like and the thing is, like with certain areas that I would like as an outside observer would appear to be innocuous to me, like the demo level of Minecraft. It's just a small village in the middle of nothing, but
yeah,
that means something to somebody.
Exactly. Like if I didn't play Minecraft on the Xbox 360, so it wouldn't mean anything to me, but to the person you've described, it's not just home. There's like hearth and comfort where you can return there and kind of plant roots in this digital landscape after a bad day or after at night if you just need some kind of reassurance for yourself. I think it's a really wonderful part of the human experience that's I don't know if it's recently cropped up because anyone can have nostalgia for anything, but in the specific landscapes of like the internet and gaming, it's a hard thing to describe because our brains aren't quite there yet. I feel like all the light pollution in our eyes is kind of singeing us in our brains, but it's almost like an uncharted territory of the human experience that we're just documenting for the first time.
Mm. Well, that and like I do this specifically for Hometown 1999. I do this weird like double whammy thing. I recently discussed it. I think on the last interview I did on this channel. I'm planning on doing like game challenge videos about it.
Okay.
But it's a thing I do. It's been an inside joke with like just me for ever since like 2008. You know those games where you can like drag a corpse behind you?
Oh yeah, like I think in Fallout you can press E to swing a corpse.
Yeah. So what I do is I take a corpse and I see how long I can drag them.
Oh, for like the entirety of a campaign, or
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And I've even given this concept a name. I call him Philip.
Philip.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to humanize the body a little bit, make it more of a emotional investment for the viewer, I guess. It'd be different if you said like drag the corpse versus like this is my friend Philip. We're going to bring him on an adventure throughout the entirety of like Dishonored or something.
Exactly. And the idea is that like a staunch rule I've given is that Philip does not talk back. There's no like silly funny voice for him. It is like Wilson and Castaway. It is a one-sided argument.
Okay, so it's like I guess it's set more in like the narrative of a specific video. So it's like you kind of put yourself in the role of the player character talking to an inanimate object. Is that it?
Either that or just like asking for advice and getting nothing back and then just agreeing with the silence.
Okay, yeah. It's like, how do I get past these guards, buddy? Just dead silence. Pan is like slow zoom to Philip. It's like, good idea. Let's do it. And then you just don't explain. There's just nonsense happening on screen. I can see where you're going with that. Like kind of a, I think it's a cliched example, but like a Mitten Squad sort of overview where it's like, well, I have to get past and do X and Y and set like the ground rules, kind of explain, give an overview, and then you can kind of jump to the more personal, quote unquote, personal explanations of doing with Philip. Like, all right, Philip and I got to do this. Make it feel a little bit more homely a bit.
Exactly.
As strange as it would be to drag a corpse across an entire pier of like a video game, kind of makes someone a bit more invested versus just writing a script play by play of like, I needed to do this, so I did X and Y, and then sprinkle jokes and pacing and whatnot.
I have started writing the script for so I picked the worst possible game to start doing these challenges with, and I think I might have to put it off to the side just for a little bit.
What game?
Skyrim.
That's a tough one. Yeah, you weren't kidding.
And one of my favorite lines that I've written is, do you know the first town right after like the first attack on Helgen?
I know the location. The names of these Elder Scrolls places always escape me, but
so it's a small riverside town called Riverwood.
Okay.
And it's a simple line, but it makes me laugh for some reason. It's, I've just entered Riverwood and now somebody has to die.
Yeah, just deliver it with like very confidently, not knowingly, and then people will be like, "What? Why does someone have to die? What?"
Well, because during the attack in Helgen, I couldn't drag any corpses because all like the bodies are like stuck to the ground.
Yeah, just I guess if I was doing it, it'd be very dry, just to my natural style. But you can definitely be more bombastic with it. You just kind of find what comes naturally to you. Like, do you want to make it more silly, or do you want to make it like more very kind of dry to matter-of-factly kind of clash with it? It's like, okay, got here, viciously slaughtered someone in front of their whole family, and now this is Philip. We're gonna take him on a little adventure.
And I should mention, the standing rule for Philip is that it has to be a human corpse.
Okay.
So
So not something conveniently small.
yeah, like I can't like stab a rat and then drag the rat with me. It has to be a human body.
These challenge those like drag objects across the entire game have been around forever. Like there was a whole mission with that in Half-Life Episode 2 in Black Mesa.
The gnome.
And then yeah, and then like if you want to go back, like PewDiePie dragging the statue Stefano and Amnesia: The Dark Descent.
But
that was the thing.
But now imagine playing Half-Life 2 Episode 2 dragging an entire corpse.
That would be complicated, but probably doable. If you can drag the gnome, you can drag a person.
I like what's worse is I may have to play the Episode 2 levels in Gary's mod so I can just use the physics gun to like drag him behind me.
Oh yeah, I used to do that all the time. I played more Half-Life 2 in Gary's mod than actual Half-Life 2 because you can just add. I was obsessed with adding like weapons to my inventory, so I would just add whatever, and I still kind of do that with Serious Sam Fusion. It's like just a modding tool for the Serious Sam, or at least a few of them. So you'll play like an HD remaster from 2007, but I have all the weapons from like Overwatch or something. People get very creative with mods over there.
But I think where I'm gonna start with the quote unquote Philip challenge thing is so to wrap up the challenges themselves. I want to take one Philip from the bottommost corner of the map to the topmost corner.
Okay.
In one shot.
Oh boy.
But
oh God.
But as like a sort of like a send off, like a tradition.
Okay.
And
yeah, it doesn't seem like a bad idea at all.
And I tested it recently with Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
Okay.
Like carrying a corpse from the southernmost point of the map all the way to the Vatican at the top left.
God. I mean, to be fair, it kind of is what the Vatican deserves in Brotherhood.
All I know,
just a little bit.
All I know is the first time I attempted it, so my partner asked an amazing question, which I didn't consider until I got it done. I got it done in one shot.
Okay.
Like, I walked all the way up, and I should mention, dragging a corpse in that game alerts any guard that you see.
Yeah, because they're watching you drag a corpse.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I have to like set him down, get in a sword fight, and then go and pick up that specific body so it doesn't
completely running into roadblocks every time.
And finally I make it there, and I drop Philip on the front steps of the Vatican, and I turn to my partner and I go, I did it one go. And they go, did you record it? I'm like, oh shit, I didn't.
Oh no. You just performed like the most arduous, painful way to get excommunicated ever.
I brought you this corpse from southern Rome.
You're welcome.
Honestly, the larger
corpse.
task of that would be Assassin's Creed Origins, which is all of Egypt.
Oh yeah. God, I haven't played any of the newer ones. They got kind of weird.
I like Origins.
Assassins. I think there was, I don't remember which one, because like I have a friend who was into, I think Odyssey was the one where he started to get mad and like they weren't real Assassin's Creed or whatever, but I think everyone has a definition of what real Assassin's Creed is because it's such a flippant franchise. But
yeah,
I mostly just stick with like the Xbox 360 releases is what I'm familiar with.
There you go, up until like 3 or so.
Yeah, I mean I like 3. I know a lot of people don't, but I like 3 quite a bit. It's kind of messy, but
I do too. I just don't like the chase sequences.
It's kind of a messy game. I like the story of 3 a lot. I like Connor. He has like the struggle of not fitting in. That's like a little Canada fact that basically everyone here is like partly native, so it's very relatable. But I don't know. People, I get it from like some perspectives. It is probably not as solid as like Black Flag or some of the 2 trilogy. Some of those games are weird. I think Revelations was like kind of, but I don't know. Old Assassin's Creed really was something special.
Well, I mean, I like Revelations. I like it as the end point of Ezio's story.
It's not bad. It's just sometimes it gets a bit weird compared to the other two. But it's been a while since I've played them, so I'm probably talking out of my ass.
I, man, I sorry, I'm thinking about that Skyrim video. That's gonna be such a fucking headache. I
I only did it once before.
Well, I mean, well, no, the idea for the Skyrim one is to play the
Oh,
campaign.
the Skyrim one, yeah. Which is the whole campaign of Skyrim, which is like, it's a lot of game. It's a lot of game, and there's probably ways you can exploit it too. I don't know if you'd want to do exploits, but considering its Bethesda status, there is probably a way to be sneaky with it. Though, I think it's funnier if someone struggles and you see that like struggle versus just like, well, I made it as easy as humanly possible, and it's like not entertaining because I kind of kneecap the challenge being the suffering. But
well, the whole Philip thing in Skyrim is the ultimate kneecapping because there's no quick saving.
oh boy,
The game does not quick save when you are dragging a
oh
corpse.
oh, you're right.
And then also there's no fast travel.
You have better spec all points into stealth then, because it is gonna get messy.
No, that
I mean, stealth archery is kind of it's kind of a pretty easy way to play the game. I think I did that, but might be a necessity with the Philip challenge.
well, I've been essentially using them like my own personal landmine. Like, oh, there's guards I gotta sneak past, and I'll wing him out first, so they walk up to him.
Yeah, it's like get distracted, ambush. The logical strategies and implications of Philip, the tactical advantages of the corpse. I'd say go for it. I think it's I can't really think of, aside from like the Half-Life challenges of like dragging a corpse across a video game, I can't say I've ever seen a genre like that entirely.
I have a list sitting in a Google document of all the games I can think of where you can drag a body.
That's got to be a lot of immersive sims, right? And other like 3D open worlds, like a bunch of Bethesda games, Dishonored,
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, Cyberpunk. I think if you've ever played Gloomwood, you can do it in that one too, but that's not a finished game, so it's gone up in the air.
I didn't know you could do that in Gloomwood. Deus Ex.
Yeah,
also.
that's how you. Yeah, you can hide bodies, even though the game is not finished enough, arguably, to like make that a useful mechanic. But you can carry a body, and I don't think you can defend yourself, so you have to place it down and then swing the sword.
Yeah. But that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's maybe 4 hours of gameplay right now for Gloomwood. It is very unfinished, but it's a great game.
But there was one that I know is going to be a real bastard. So the idea is sort of play it like golf. Like get through with as few Phillips as humanly possible.
Oh yeah, to like lower the score to keep in. You can maybe you can add like an imaginary par or something. It's like 6 corpses or whatever.
Well, the absolute ideal is 1.
Yeah, and then every one that goes up is like a demerit or just not as good as how it could have been. Maybe even like a title, like a scoreboard or like a scorecard or something could be a pretty funny visual of like had to lose Philip because of like a mandatory cutscene or a teleport I couldn't avoid, so like scratch another tally.
Well, like I've been doing the Philip thing since 2008, and you ever play Dead Space 2?
Yes, I have. That was my second PS3 game I ever played.
So you know the room in the medical bay where the window blows out and everything gets sucked out of the room?
Oh, I do. Yes.
So at that point, I had stuffed a Philip into a wheelchair and was like trying to push the wheelchair around. And I wheeled him into that room, and I'm like, all right, I'm like, I wonder what's going on in here, because I'd never played it at that point. and the window blew out, and it looked like the wheelchair just rolled perfectly right out the window. And I hate to admit it, sometimes I get emotionally attached to my Phillips.
Oh, you've been dragging him around for like hours.
And talking at him. And
oh wait, the companion cube. I was thinking of the companion cube. I don't know if someone's probably had to have tried to sneak a companion cube somehow in Portal
through the entirety of the game.
I don't know how possible that is, but someone has to have tried.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I look down at my hands. I'm like, do I even have the patience for that? Or
yeah, good luck.
If I can do the Philip thing, I could probably do a companion cube.
You'd probably have to like bug the game almost, because it's usually necessary to complete a puzzle. So you'd have to like get out of bounds, or, like fling it somewhere.
Yep.
And then generally dragging it around. Probably easier in Portal 1. Portal 2 is a lot more like gravity puzzles.
Mm. Oh, if I can... Ooh. Damn it, I wish there were ragdolls in Portal 2.
There's not much to hold on to for Portal.
Just throw a corpse onto aerial faithfully.
You could probably figure something out in like Gary's mod or mod Portal. It's a Source Engine game, so I can't imagine putting a Gmod ragdoll in that environment would be that tough.
I hate to admit, but I've tried. I really have.
I mean, like, it makes sense of how easy it is between games, but like, I don't know. Is it possible to play Portal through Gary's mod? I've never tried.
So Portal 1, yes. Portal 2, kind of. There are certain triggers that only... It's weird because it's like the setup... The triggers are set up by like the previous level. So if you want it to...
Oh.
If you want it to like work flawlessly, you have to like start from the very beginning.
Okay.
But with that, there are certain moments in Portal 2 that are solely dictated by scripting, not by actual physics. Like,
okay.
Like the biggest one that I so desperately, I actually tested this recently and I was very upset. The moment when you break the neurotoxin tank and it causes that giant vacuum that you like fall into with Wheatley.
Oh, okay.
Where it sucks the doors off of the wall.
It's okay.
So
you go on.
So that scripting event doesn't occur when you get pulled into that tube until you walk into the room. So you can just stand there and watch like Wheatley flap in the wind, but there's no actual physics behind it. It's all scripted and animation. So I spawned a Philip and then threw him into the room with the hope and expectation that he like getting flushed down the toilet.
Yeah, just try and like suck him through there.
But no, he just flopped onto the floor. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, I guess you had to get your dreams crushed in one way.
No free corpse transportation on my account. Now, Peter, we're closing in on 2 hours. This went far longer than I anticipated.
I think it's actually been exactly 2 hours from when I started the call.
I'm terribly sorry about that.
Oh, no. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't enjoying it, believe me.
Now, how would you feel about wrapping this up?
I think you've read my mind.
Sounds good. Now, Peter, before we get out of here, I do have 2 last questions to ask you before we leave.
Sure.
And they're fairly simple questions. The first one, do you have a video that you were particularly fond of that you'd like to see on the description of this video?
Oh, that is a good question. Video I'm fond of. I guess I've mentioned it quite a bit. I guess my Drawn to Life one, that one I always liked.
Okay. And the second one, which is another simple one, would you be open to coming back as a return guest?
Sure, absolutely.
Fantastic. Now, party people at home, those of you who've been listening, please go check out Hey Peter's channel. His work is phenomenal. And Peter, do you have anything to say to the party people at home?
Well, firstly, thank you for listening this far. It's not always common that someone has the entire gumption to listen to a 2-hour podcast or stay awake for it. I suspect that many people might use this kind of work for sleep aid. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But I just hope everyone's enjoying... Actually, no, it's Saturday. Not it's going to go up on a Saturday, but I hope everyone's enjoying their day so far.
Enjoying their... When I usually post these, enjoying their Wednesday at 2 p.m.
I mean, Wednesday can't be that bad. It's better than a Monday.
Yeah, there you go. But with that, party people, will draw this interview to a close. Thank you again, Peter, for coming on. This has been an absolute blast.
Of course, I enjoyed my time. I always enjoy an interview. I like to talk to people and stroke my ego. Only a tiny bit. Only a little bit.
Small strokes.
Exactly.
But with that, party people, this has been Demasked. My name is Fresman, and I'll see all of you next time.
Well, take care, everyone.